Hello, welcome back to another video by the Canadian Home Painter. In today's video, I just want to show you how I get the paint edged up to the ceiling in a difficult spot. So I like to use this little tool that you attach your brush to, and then you can put it on the end of your painting pole, and it works great for small sections. As you can see, I'm taking my time. All I do is use my 1.5 um, polyester nylon bristle brush. Preferably you want one that is fairly new so that the end is quite small. After you wash them a few times, they tend to open up quite a bit. You don't want that for this application. You want it to be fairly new, fairly tight at the end of the brush, because what you're going to do is use that narrowness of the new paintbrush with a little bit of paint on it, just to push the paint tight up to the white ceiling. So you don't want to rush with this process. I'm only having to do this little section because I can't get to it any other way. The ladders that I have just won't reach it because of how the staircase is. So in these scenarios, I do love using this little tool. It only cost about $15, I think, and I've used it a number of times. So you will be able to achieve a straight line doing it with this technique. You just want to bring the paint down a bit. The key here, don't have too much paint on the brush. And then obviously I can continue on from a step ladder. This video is kind of an old one. This was from last summer, actually. I'm just going through some of my videos and doing some editing while I have some time off. Now, as you can see, my shirt is a bit damp, and it was so hot that day. I remember it was just so hot in the house, and the air conditioner wasn't working, and so I was just sweating up a storm on that day. So I'm just doing the rest of the brushwork up to the ceiling and down around the casing. Now in this job, that I did not paint the casing, so I was just going around it. And I'm going to just demonstrate how I go around um, the woodwork of the handrails, the posts. So the half post that is up against the drywall. Now, typically, there is a slight gap from the ones I've painted around. They're not usually right tight to the drywall, and I don't know if I think that could be over time. They just kind of work away. So there's always usually a tiny gap within like an eighth of an inch or something, but enough that you can get the small tip of the brush in. So it's easy to really edge around. Once again, I'm using the same brush, and you'd want to use one that's fairly new, that hasn't been washed a few times, hasn't, opened up quite a bit, because you want it to be as narrow at the end as possible. Now I'm going to also just show you the rolling of this wall here. So I'm using a 10mm thickness roller sleeve, lint-free. You want to use the best roller sleeves that you can find. Don't cheap out and buy some cheap roller sleeves. All these things will affect the end product, the end results of your painting project. And the technique I use, just up and down. Now, in this place, the paint was in such good condition. There was no repairs to do, so all I did was it was latex paint before as well. So all I did was give it a light sanding, cleaned it off, and I'm going over top with the new latex paint. Um, this is a flat paint going on top of previously flat paint. It is a light color, so this light color is covering up the darker color, but 2 coats, and it's good. I use Seco paint, and I find that their high-end products really work well for coverage. So sometimes I will use primer, and sometimes I'll just go over top, depending on the job, of course, and what is needed. So you just want to make sure you don't put too much on the roller sleeve. You want to find that happy medium, so not too heavy, not too light, obviously. I always start a little bit away from where I stopped and then make sure I cover over the where I last rolled, which will prevent any lines from the end of the roller sleeve. The key is really just going over it and thinning out the paint that's, or not thinning it out, but getting it less on the roller sleeve. So as it's applied to the wall, it's your coverage will take care of any heavy spots. That painting pole is a great pole. I can get quite high up with it, and it's nice and adjustable, just with a little button on the end. Um, I would say if you're doing a painting project in your house, definitely invest in one of these adjustable poles. They're about $35. Obviously, depending where you are in the world, but here in Canada, that's what they roughly would cost. And a heavy duty one like this, I mean, I've had it for a long time. So these things, if you spend the money, $35, that's going to get you a good painting pole. You shouldn't have a problem using that for years and years. And what I like about it is the easy adjustable um, shaft. It's just easily uh, adjusted, and I can reach quite high areas, as you can see in this video, but even higher. So I just want to show you, as this wall comes down, it meets up with the ceiling on the main floor. So I typically will do that last because I don't want it very heavy, the paint. I don't want to get any on that white ceiling. So I will get down within a couple inches of where that bottom of the wall is, where it meets up with the ceiling. And I'll do that last with very, very little paint on the roller sleeve, and just make sure I'm right down there looking, and so I don't get it too heavy where it will get onto that white ceiling. So with that, yeah, you want next to no paint left on that roller sleeve, and it'll be enough to do that section. And I'm just going to show you after this one last time using that other little handy uh, um, tool that I attach my paintbrush to. So it works for just getting you a little bit further. Sometimes you just need a little bit longer, and without attaching it to a pole even, it works great. So attaching it to the pole is a little trickier, but also I've used it just in scenarios where I just need to have an extra, 8 inches, a foot or something, and it really works well. So I'm just going to show you here next. I had some furniture in the middle of the room, and it was so heavy I wasn't able to get it out of the way, but I had to get up into that top part where it meets the drop ceiling, and I just couldn't reach it. So I just attached the brush to that handy little pole, and it worked great. I just was able to reach it just with my hand. And, it's easy enough to get a straight enough line too. When it's attached, it's very tight and secure in there. So yeah, it's a great tool to have. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to my channel. I appreciate all the comments and questions and support on this channel, and look for more videos as I am going through all my different videos from over the past year or so. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good day.